Welcome to the late IHP show with your 5D mystic right here. I was going to say lovely, but maybe not, but maybe yes. You're all lovely to me, even the ones that we don't want to hang out with. Okay, so there's a split that has taken place. Let me revisit a couple of aspects. Ascension, every person who is ascending can do so with true spirituality, which means that you know that you're a human and I'm a human, and you do not do the whole misanthropist thing where you hate, dislike, and mistrust humans. It's more of today I had one of those days where I'm upset, not that you don't feel good in your body, okay? So we do personal development, self-help. That means you have an emotional window of welcome to you and others, okay? So true spirituality is a connection, and it's a life and meaning beyond the solo self, which is also what is an integration of the brain capacity. Now, the people who need good therapy, they get good therapy, they reparent, they get some room, they come on over, and they like to have healthy self-worth, the 5D collective. So when a 5D collective, mystic or not, is engaging with all people, there are those who we will not have any interest to be around, okay? So this split is not something new, but we don't do the split in the way of catastrophizing thinking or black and white thinking or rupture. We have a channeled guidance that will come out, and I tried to describe what I'm not going to get in depth here, but I also want to grab another note. Here's what happens when we have those who are like teenagers, and so they have not completely recovered from their unresolved trauma stuff from childhood. So they still want a group like teenagers would do with drama kings, queens, and theys. I talk about teenagers, meaning the adults who are still their 16-year-old because they act in this ever, never, ever. Okay, so here's what it sounds like, and this is a martyr superior. So they're healing their own trauma, and they're talking about things in a way that's projection, though, because of the more you heal, the more comfortable you are with being the villain in the story of people who don't want to do the work to heal themselves. It sounds pretty harsh. I mean, wow, villain that we with healthy self-worth know already, because as a teenager, I knew what confidence brought about. People who lied, and I went to ask why, and they all said they were afraid that I would be upset at them. And I said, really? But you know I follow Jesus. 5D is Christ consciousness, okay? So spirituality, it's not about what institutions. No, the institutions, they are... You know, when they went to the moon and they put a flag, yeah, so they're claiming things like Reiki can't be the Holy Spirit energy, or, you know, can't be good energy, essentially. So it is what it is. 3D, 4D keeps on doing only whatever it is and thinking that there's some pedestal for information. We know sciences and spirituality goes like this because our brains are integrated, flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable, okay? So the split is not about 144,000 special number. It's not about God sending you a narcissist to test you. That's really not nice, because the narcissist needs the good therapist. Now we know that there's malignant and there's also covert, but there's still people. Please stop dehumanizing people. Nobody's an energy vampire or dark aura. That's not nice. Mantles of mental health and mantles of yoga, spiritual bypassers, people with superhero capes who think about supervillains. Yeah, you're objectifying human beings. So 8 billion people, they're all human beings. And they had an inner child, and they still do. And some might not use the bright sides of neuroplasticity. We'll know the ones in this split that chose human suffering love narrative. We don't need to dehumanize them. I surround them all with good therapists. Ascension. The conscious participation in our own evolution. Yes, we'll become your whole emotional grown-up self and have your 3-year-old like is right here and come join 5D relationships, mystics and not. You'll hear about sciences and spirituality. We have a good time with people who are humble. They have a good time with us. It's called smart people. They actually do know that they don't experience mysticism, and they don't think we're liars. And that's because they know that they can't prove or disprove it. So an actual sciences person doesn't say, there's never been a medium ever. Wow, that's a great teenager, 7 of 14 charming. You just have a role because of all your lovely little certificates. You didn't notice, you got really excited there for a minute. I did. As you're spelling out a falsity because you just don't agree with mediums. And I'm sure there's an explanation, but for you to never have there ever been, wow, I've come across ghosts. And I don't need the word medium, but I know what I came across. I've come across a lot of things. Again, mystic. I'm not using it out of my ass, but again, it's woo pseudoscience lady because of respect of people who don't believe. It's okay. I like to tease, and I tease with people who tease back, but they're not talking down and they're not making blanket ignorant statements like yoga brings demons out of you because some human being told you. Wow, really? You really believe it? Like, you believe it? I know I don't know everything. I'm very stupid sometimes, but I know to ask people who are smarter than me. Hey, I'm confused about this historical fact because, there's a lot of those people who aren't experts at all, and I don't think they're getting their data from the quantitative people data, and I'm not really sure where to find. Can you help me to, So I got my sources, the good ones. Thank goodness I got them because, sometimes 4D really takes a lot of things out of context with those esoteric stories. So, ascension, the shifting of the physical body, the mental body, and emotional body to a higher harmonic resonance. Now, you can't go higher up if you think people are villains for not healing. You're forgetting that every person's journey is unique to themselves. Consciousness is the state of being aware and responsive to your surroundings. But first, there has to be the capacity for you to hold your emotions. If you can't hold those emotions that are within you, then we have a person who's going to be overwhelmed by them. Okay, so with the full moon, we did have what are a group, at the very least, those two. Human love narrative group, 5D mystics and not. It's people who expand consciousness because we do enjoy differences. Political, religious, societal. We know spirituality and sciences prove the same thing, but sciences proves there's no demon that possesses the body of a person. That there are consciousness barriers, memory barriers, that we have people who have dissociative identity disorder. They are actively afraid. I know of people, they've spelled out what I learned from my therapy courses. They are afraid of going because they're going to be called weird and or basically given something they might not need. And I reassure these people when I meet them a few times that they've been able to share that truth. And I say, look, there's great people out there updating good therapists. So yes, you want the good ones that learn from the ones I'm learning from who will let them know that you don't need medication. No, you will want a person that knows EMDR, child work and somatics, and to keep an eye and to know that we might need medication, we might not need, we don't know, we are going to work with you. So I actually try to share, like with people who are told by 4D, you have death, you have negative energy near you, and they scare the shit out of people, and I'm like, okay, no, please, you're not evil, there's no, please stop. And I say, can I hear about your childhood? And those poor human beings who have had individuals fear-monger them because those 4D people don't know how to read energy the right way because they don't get healed. They have their own shit going down. And I find out that these individuals, these poor human beings, are simply put they need a good therapist because there's ruptures from things that have taken place. Okay, so there's an explanation to why people have certain types of events happen. That doesn't take away from the mystic plane. It gives and empowers people who care about people, which is what the actual spirituality community is all about. And so 4D mystics, the only reason they are more popular is because they have superhero capes and supervillain capes to fight, which is their own unfinished business from home. And instead of taking it to a therapist, they are standing around like Braveheart, and we're going to leave that alone. So the split is basically those of us who come together and know we're here to support each other to heal trauma, serious, at least here at IHP, to chit-chat about the beautiful, empowered, fiercely loving relationships that are out there for healthy, self-worth women, men, and theys, the human love narrative. We get to chit-chat how to handle human suffering love when they come around. There's plenty of them, and they don't get kicked out or booted out. We just learn how to use our words better and how to say, you know what, you're right. We're not vibing. I don't want to dehumanize you. I'm just not vibing. So this is something we talk about on tomorrow's channel guidance. Again, be kind, compassionate. Doesn't mean to say, yes, I want to hang out. It means to say, you know what, if I really don't like you, we're not going to hang out. Doesn't mean that we're cutting either. So the only people who go extreme and think that there's a rupture because of certain types of differences are the teenagers who it's like all or none. Okay, so that's how I'm going to equate it. Anybody who's healing their trauma, they've reparented, their whole adult self is not going to be black and white thinking. We share, we have compersion, polyamory, and monoamory. We want to unconditionally love, flaws, imperfections. We can talk it out. Functional adults, we work it out always, not just sometimes, because we walk together and look in the same direction.